Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in to TeeTekTrab. Yes, again, that is TeeTekTrab signing in with a reaction video. But this is not your traditional reaction video. Today, we're going to be talking about Tunic. If you like Tunic, if you just like reactions all over the internet, don't forget to subscribe, all that stuff, like the video, all that good stuff. And yeah, let's get into it. So, I just beat Tunic last night, 24 hours. No spoilers. I'm going to try to keep it spoiler free. And then I guess I'll go maybe do another video for a spoilerific discussion with myself. And if anybody's having a discussion about Tunic and they want to invite me on, feel free to tell them about me or let me know and I can reach out to them. But yeah, Tunic, my gosh, it was a roller coaster for me because I had no idea just how much in depth it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be just walk around, slice it, you know, cut things, defeat enemies, move on to the next boss, whatever. But oh my gosh, it's so cerebral. And when I say that, I mean you have to think a lot. Give yourself some time to look for clues. Give yourself some time to look at that map. The more pieces that you get, the more it'll start to make sense about where you are, the story, everything. The instruction manual is everything, and it really ties into your character, like not knowing what's going on. You're waking up on the beach, not really understanding where you are, and those instruction manual is, you know, is pretty much that. The sound design was great. Definitely some old school, reminds me of old school sounds. Things exploding when the sword hits the enemy, that sounds great. When you're able to parry, oh my gosh, that sounds wonderful. It sounds great. And parry actually saved me a few times near the end of the game. I'm not gonna get into it, but yeah, if you can pull it off a couple times, oh man, it's a lifesaver. And it's actually a game beater. You can actually beat the game now. It's wonderful. The music is very somber and surreal sounding. If I'm using that word correctly, I believe it's surreal. Just sounds very far away, and you know, the chimes, and I don't know how to describe it, but little percussion instruments sound really good. It really sets the tone, it sets the mood of the story, which is I'm sorry, I did the whack. Guess I had to wipe my glasses off, but yeah, really helped. I really do like the character design, although after a while, after I look at him for a while, Tunic the Fox, they look really they look a little funny, but like haha funny though. I really like it. Wow, this really took you back. I remember people talking about how the Zelda instruction manual was important to, you know, the game. Like there were certain parts of the Zelda instruction manuals that I think would actually help you with the game that you would have never known had you not looked at it. But it looks like the developers of Tunic took that idea and just cranked it up to 11, because that instruction manual really is everything. And the funny thing about it is you can't even read the instruction manual, you know what I mean? So it's sometimes it's in your language, which is English, and then sometimes it's in, most of the time it's in a different language. So that's interesting. The bosses, very difficult. Lovely, and because when you beat them, you feel like a champ. Yeah, it's a really great game. It's a game that I didn't appreciate. You could probably watch me streaming over on TeeTekTrab Live Gaming if you wanted to check out the VODs. I don't know if I'll be able to actually edit every single one of those things. I might edit the really juicy stuff and put it over on Trap Loves Games, but those are two different channels, by the way. It really felt good to destroy those enemies, those boss. This is a very difficult game, and when you beat them, you feel excellent. But yeah, sound design's great. Graphic wise, you look like it definitely reminds me of if they took what was it, Legend of Zelda, oh gosh, what is the name of that? It's like the toy version, Link's Awakening, but unshined it. They debuffed it, made the texture rough. That's what it looks like. And honestly, it's in a way, it's not even really necessarily that. I feel like Link's Awakening is top down, right? Whereas Tunic is like kind of isometric, because you could, you know, jostle the camera angle and see things that you've never saw before. Now, I don't think that's a spoiler. That might be a little bit of a tip and trick, but it's not that hard to figure out. Like, I think you'll stumble upon it. The story is something else. I don't want to get into the story, or maybe better yet, maybe I'll get into the stories later. Like now, maybe I'll put like a timestamp or something on there when I edit this in. But yeah, I think we covered everything. The sound design, just the emotional feel. Like when you're walking around, all you see is enemies. You know, you go into like what appears to be civilization. There's a tower, you know, windmill, I should say, and structures to let you know that people lived here. And you cannot find a smiling face, a gentle soul anywhere. This is a very deep game. Like there's definitely hidden, even after I beat it, I know there's hidden lore to the game. It's really, I said this before, but in the beginning I didn't like it that much. I was like, oh come on, you know, you guys could see me playing it. But then as I started to play more and more of it, I started to gain a newfound appreciation of what it was doing and just how difficult it was. And I think that's kind of the thing, that if you're doing streaming, you feel like you need to, at least for me, this is kind of my personal problem. You feel like there's something needs to be happening on the screen in order for it to be entertaining. And you know, it's a big difference, a huge difference between streaming a game and just playing it on your own. When you're streaming the game, you kind of want things to be happening so that way you can make clips out of it and all that other silly stuff. But if you're just playing the game on your own, maybe it doesn't bother you as much. But I will say this, as I went along, it didn't matter whether I was streaming it or not. I just got into it. Yeah, it was a great time. It was a great time because it started to, it's like an onion. Tunic is an onion. You start to peel back the layers, and the deeper you get, the better and better it is. The more in-depth everything starts to become, and you start to see the core and the meat of the game, and you start to appreciate it. It starts to feel good to figure things out. You start to piece together the map. You start to piece together what certain things do, items do. I don't want to get into it too much. Really good. And then you start to discover secrets that, you know, the game never told you about. That also feels good. That manual definitely will send you on your way, but it can't tell you every single itty bitty little thing until sometimes near the very end. The boss battles, again, like I said, the boss battles, I might be talking in circles here, guys. Boss battles are very challenging. The very first one that I encountered in a greenery area, I'll put it to you that way, was rough. And you can actually see that I got my butt kicked several times, died over and over again, and then I started to get that pattern down, and it felt like I could do no wrong, and I ended them. It felt great. And then there's a second boss into another sort of more of ruins-like looking area. Looks like ruins. He was tough too. I beat him. And then yeah, and then there were certain parts of the game where you just are not gonna figure it out in your first try. Areas that you can just simply cannot go to. You start to poke and prod around it, and you're like, what is going on here? And then it's nuts. It's nuts. I wonder. I want to talk more about it, but this is kind of a spoiler-free how I felt about it. I would definitely do it again if I could. And just goes to show you just how contrasty this is to Death's Door. These are two, in my opinion, Zelda-esque games, maybe. Again, I'd say I joke Tunic is the first Zelda game that I ever beat, but I did play many Zelda like. I played another Zelda like in Death's Door, but they're very different. They're very different, and it's so interesting to see how the two are very different. The Death's Door is a little bit more linear. I say a little bit; it's way more linear. Whereas, if you're not paying attention to Tunic, you will be lost for hours. And that right there was the reason why I don't think I ever really beat a Zelda game. I actually tried to play Zelda a couple times. I used to rent one of the N64 titles in Blockbuster back in the day, and I never knew what the heck I was doing. I think I jumped into somebody else's save file, which was really dumb at the time, obviously. And then I tried walking around. I might have even tried to start a new save file to try figuring it out, but it was a lot of things going on that I just didn't understand. And then my time with Zelda extended to, I can't remember which one came first, but I want to say it was the Minish Cap for the Game Boy Advance. I was like, well, because remember, the reason why I kept trying Zelda games is because Zelda has always been popular. Zelda has been popular since the very beginning, and all I would hear about people talking about how Zelda is one of the best games ever. It rant and rave about it, rave and rant about it. And I guess I tried it myself, and I just didn't understand what the appeal was because I could not figure it out. And this is kind of, I'll do a bit of a splinter here. This is kind of why this is like the very first times where I started to distrust people's opinions about things, is because it didn't measure up with my own. Again, I was a very young kid. I was a kid, but that was my first taste of going, this isn't that good. Why is everybody talking about this? Like, this is really good. It's not that good. But again, I didn't understand it. I couldn't appreciate it. But still, there were kids my age who loved it and adored it, appreciated it, all that stuff. So, hey, it was a bit different. Everything was different back then. But yeah, I picked up the Minish Cap. This stuff definitely does still relate to Tunic. I know it's a bit of a tangent, but I picked up the Minish Cap, and I could not for the life of me figure out where to go. I beat the first world or something. Not first world, but I was in the first world, walking around. This is a long time ago, folks. I could not for the life of me figure out where to go, what to do, what's going on. And this is like, yeah, the internet's around, but I don't know if I didn't look it up, or I didn't want to, or I wanted to figure it out on my own. I think I wanted to figure it out on my own. And I was still playing games a lot at that time. I was a kid, but I felt myself as somewhat of a professional back then. I felt like I could do it. I played video games all my life up to that point, and I still do. So that didn't work out. So I was like, man. And it just sat there and then just disappeared. I don't know if I traded it in at a GameStop or EB Games or something like that. I don't know what I did with it, but it just disappeared into obscurity. I don't know. A little while later after that, I can't remember, guys. My days are starting to mash together. Wind Waker comes out, and it's for the Nintendo GameCube. And people are ranting and raving about it again. They're like, oh, baby, look, the baby, look, oh, the baby. I mean, keep it real with you, honest to goodness. Me being an outsider of the Zelda community, and that fan base, I didn't care. I didn't care what Zelda. And honestly, the way that it looked with the Wind Waker, the cel shaded kind of cartoony look, it actually appealed to me because I was into Mario at the time, and still am. But I was like, okay, this looks appealing, and honestly, it looks easier because I couldn't beat the last few Zelda games. This one looks easier. So I played. I'm swimming around, I think, in Outset Island or whatever, and I get to the point where you're swinging on a tail above lava or something like that, or something. You're in some place and you're swinging around, and I think I beat something or not. All I know is after that, once again, I don't know where to go. I have no idea where to go. I'm lost. I'm sailing around. I don't know what to do next. I don't know who to talk to. And it happens again. And I think I'm older this time. I put it down because I had it, and then I think I go off to college, and I think I tried again. I think I tried again while I'm in my college years, and then I still can't figure it out. So I was like, all right, this thing's just not for me. Many, many years later, you know, that store comes out. I was like, it's kind of like Zelda. I try it. I like it. I beat. Awesome. I think I got the hang of this. But then again, it's not really Zelda. Tunic is more on the nose. He wears the green tunic. He wears the tunic. He's got the shield. He's got the sword. He's like, hey, this is Zelda. Right? So I go ahead and I play it. And I'm streaming it this time. So here's the difference. Maybe the stream helps me push further than I actually would have. Because again, not having a good time. I feel a little whiny about it. You guys see me in the first stream. Okay. And then something in it. Maybe it's because I'm trying to entertain people or what. Something clicks. Something freaking clicks. I don't know if it's because there's no NPCs to talk to, so that's like one less thing I have to worry about. Or it's the fact that there's a manual and you have to look at the manual. You have to. And that manual has a map on it, and the map shows your guy on it, and you start to piece together what's what, and you start to creep around, and things start to slowly but surely make sense. And sometimes you accidentally find a couple things that, oh my god, I'm onto something, and boom, you're in it. You're like, okay, this isn't impossible. It's not so impossible after all. Maybe, just maybe, I can beat this. Maybe I can beat this. And the boss battles, I don't care about that. Let me tell you something. If I go up against the boss and I get defeated 20 times, I'll be fine. I'm not gonna give up on that. But if you put me on an island where I don't know where to go, oh, time is ticking, buddy. I might be gone in the next, 15 minutes of just searching and not finding anything. But something about Tunic, God. Man, I'm really, really thankful. Really thankful that I stuck with it and beat it, not to 100% completion. Some people say, hey, you haven't beaten it unless you get 100%. I might get 100%. I always say that, but I never do. But, time is ticking. I got other time. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Tunic. Wonderful game. I know. I had to give you guys some backstory. I had to give you guys some Zelda backstory. But yeah. That's how I felt about it. It's a great game. I recommend you play it, but I recommend that it's not a fast-paced action game, if that makes any sense. It moves in fast-paced, but Tunic is not a sort of fast-paced action. Like you move from area to area, boom, 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 boom. That's for like speedrunners. And again, you had to have beaten the game before you're even able to do all of that. It's not what you think. And the music kind of helps you. It's weird. The first music that you hear, it helps you. And maybe it's like, listen to the music, right? It's like inquisitive. It's kind of, I don't know. It's very vibrational. Yeah. And you start to seep into this is a mystery. That's what the music is like. There's a mystery. There's something here that you have to figure out. And the music definitely helps you out with that. It's definitely an inquisitive. Doom 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 doom. It's like, what's going on here, right? So it knows that you have to think. You gotta think. You have to think. I love it. But yeah, I'm going on for too long. I could talk about this for much longer than I should, but that's my thoughts on Tunic. I'm not gonna give it a rating because that's dumb. That's dumb. In terms of numbers. I'll just tell you how I feel about it. Would I play Tunic again? Absolutely. Absolutely. I hope Tunic 2 comes out because I hope they're working on Tunic 2 because the Tunic 1 is definitely an enjoyable experience. I hope you guys have time to sit down, drink your coffee, or espresso, whatever drink you might frequent, or your alcoholic beverage or whatever. Sit down with it. It's weird. It feels like a good book. I'm not gonna lie to you. Tunic feels like a good book. It's dark. Lots of areas are dark. It's dark. It's, oh boy, oh gosh, GVG. I'm sorry, John Cartwright. Okay, oh, this guy. He coined it. He said cozy. It's cozy. I said it. There, I said it. It's cozy. It's cozy. It feels. It's a good feeling game. It's a good feeling game. And yeah, it's really good. I enjoy it. Man, that ending. I'm not gonna get into that. I might do that later. Depends on how this video does. But yeah, let me know what you think about Tunic. Have you guys beaten it? Please, no spoilers in the chat. No spoilers in the comments. I will read every single one. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in to TeeTekTrab. Yes, again, that's TeeTekTrab signing out with a delayed reaction to the game video. Oh my gosh. I could talk more about Tunic, but I gotta go. If you like this type of thing, don't forget to like and subscribe, as it helps me out. Helps me pay the freaking... Helps me out a lot. You have a great rest of your day, and bye.